This will be an imperfect recording of a blog post that I wrote a couple of years ago as I started sharing online. Don't mind the baby noises in the background. So here it goes. Conscious sharing. Not so long ago, I was still one of those people who are against Facebook. A lot of the ways I saw social media being used really put me off it. I saw inauthentic expression, I saw addictive behavior, I saw comparison, I saw privacy disappearing, and wild, wild west of data collection. I was absolutely terrified of falling into a trap of some kind, but above all else, I was afraid of participating. Posting anything leaves a little trace of yourself in the virtual world for anyone to see. I was afraid of sharing and exposing myself to all those potential risks. The fear of what would become of those pieces of me has had me hiding in the shadows for a long time. So what's changed? While I'm not saying that the pitfalls I used to see in social media have evaporated, I'm finally beginning to see past those things and let myself enjoy the benefits of it. I now see all the beautiful ways social media is being used and the potential to inspire change, to share dreams, and to connect in ways I haven't known before. I've been hurting myself by staying underneath my rock and staying disconnected out of fear. Sure, some of that fear is still there. For instance, I don't know what will happen when I put this post out there, but I'm just so sick of hiding. The urge to express. A man once asked me why I create. I couldn't explain it then, and I'm not sure I'm better at explaining it now. All I know is that I absolutely need an outlet. I need the freedom to create, to express things from the soul on my own terms. Even though I've never felt comfortable calling myself an artist or felt like I was especially good at any one thing, I know I'm a creator of sorts. It's because on some level, creating gives me a reason. It gives me some sense of meaning to my existence somehow. So over time, I've made things for myself and I've made things for others. But in terms of creating and living a meaningful life, I'm finding I'm the only one who can give myself what I'm seeking. Every time I think I've found a potential solution elsewhere, it always falls up short. So now I'm exploring the powerful urge to take action and to create freely from the heart, all while having as much fun as possible. The internet and social media are becoming tools in the exploration of ways to take care of my creative needs and to get to know myself. So why share? I feel some part of me needs to share and another part needs to be convinced that it's okay to do that. I already need to give myself an excuse to create, but I especially need a reason for sharing, otherwise it feels shallow. So honestly, I'm just taking stabs at trying to create that excuse for myself, otherwise I know I'll keep looking for it somewhere else. In the past, I've always had to stay anonymous in what I was creating. I've tried to anyway. Right now I feel like the exposure, like the risk of being seen, provides a challenge to discover, accept, and own who I really am, all that I am and all that I want to be. I'm ready to accept that challenge. I have to admit that the risk of knowing you've left a piece of your soul out in the universe for someone else to find and be moved by in some way is kind of thrilling. It's terrifying but exciting, and I feel it links to a need for connection. Conscious sharing. I've been dipping my toes in the water, testing the feeling for the past year, and now it's time to jump in. I'm sharing more now on social media than I ever have. I'm putting it all out there. Weirdness, happiness, vulnerability, discovery. I'm staying mindful about what I choose to share and why. I ask myself whether or not I'm trying to show something or to prove something about myself. Is it truly to express from the heart and soul and perhaps to inspire, or is it to pat my ego or to make myself feel better in some way? I'll never be perfect, but I'm trying to stay aware of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'd also like to note that above all else, I'm trying to follow joy. I take all this to heart and oftentimes take myself too seriously, so I'm trying to have fun and make it my own. Make it in my own way. I have no idea where any of this will lead. It's all an experiment I'm trying, a risk I'm taking, a challenge I'm accepting. Amazingly, I'm already finding myself growing every single step of the way. Surprisingly, I'm already connecting with others in ways I never imagined, and ultimately I think I've already got all I've ever wanted right there. So I'm sharing a blog post that I wrote a couple of years ago called Conscious Sharing. I'm revisiting it because I'm thinking about that a lot these days, about the ways that I've been showing up in social media, how I want to continue showing up in social media moving forward. And I think the conclusion for 2022, or at least for the next little while, is that I will not continue to show up in social media, which I didn't necessarily foresee. But my priorities feel like they've shifted a lot. And even though I know that I want to continue to develop and like keep building my online business, surprisingly, my heart is telling me that part of doing that is actually stopping. And it feels like it ties back to our priorities, you know? I've been experimenting a lot, and my intuition kept telling me along the way, like, in using social media and starting to put myself out there and exploring and creating, that I needed to do that to get to know myself, to see myself and let myself be seen in ways that I hadn't before, in ways that are what feels like my truest self. And so I've used like the social media as a tool to get to know myself and to learn so much. Like I've used it as a tool for personal development, and it's been awesome. But the truth is, it doesn't feel like that's how I'm using it anymore. It doesn't feel like that's how I'm gonna need to keep using it for now anyway. I don't know. No, you can never say never. But the way I'm gonna use it in the future is gonna be a lot more directed and a lot more focused. And if it is being used, then it'll be used for really direct and targeted marketing for business. That's just truth. And while like marketing for me does not mean at all what like marketing means from like a fear-based and non-heart-centered approach, I'm definitely like learning ways to stay true to myself while just letting know people like what I'm doing and what I have to offer. And I'm gonna spend this year just reflecting on what that is. And I say year, like I don't know exactly. There's still some things that I want to finish for my training. I'm gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on my baby, who you might hear in the background. and so that was the thing. It's like my intuition, was really telling me to focus on baby first, business later. And fear inside of me, deep fear around money, around like being able to support my baby, has had me like pushing and forcing and really hoping and trying to have like figured out a way to work and survive like monetarily on this planet, in order to take care of my baby, which makes total sense. But at the same time, like my intuition kept saying baby first, business after, baby first, business after. And right now the truth is that I have the opportunity to really put baby first and put business after. Whew, emotion coming up with that. And so I want to be in the moment instead of in the future, in the fear. And I'm going to put baby first and I'm going to put business after, just like my intuition keeps saying. And the emotion arising as I'm saying this shows me that that's really the right way forward. So that means that I'm going to be taking a pause from doing like monthly videos on YouTube. Like maybe I'll just show up if I really feel called and inspired to, but I'm gonna stop following a freaking schedule and like screw algorithms. I've said that a long time ago, and like obviously otherwise, if I actually cared about numbers, I think I would be insane for having like continued to show up with such low with such low reactions in general. But I just always trust that it's like, yeah, if I connect with even just one person, that's all that matters to me. And so, yeah, just continuing to follow that kind of piece, like following that intuition, that wisdom, that inner knowing. So if I feel called to share something, I will. But I'm moving inwards to really get clear again on being really conscious with my sharing, really clear with myself about my intention now. Because I've experimented a lot. I'm going to continue experimenting. That's what life is. But yeah, I feel like my energy wants to be really, really really narrowed down and focused and used as wisely as possible. And in some ways I'm done experimenting certain aspects. So that's that. if you're wondering about the free birth story, that's what like actually brought upon all of this inner reflection. I decided that I was like reflecting on why I wanted to share that, and while it does feel important, it feels like something that I want to keep to myself and I want to keep to my baby, and tell the story to her. You know, to like share the things that, you know, and share my energy and share the stories and the things that matter most with the people that really like actually truly need to hear it. And with that in mind, it's like if somebody wants to know the story, then feel free to reach out to me and ask me. That's kind of like where I'm at around that. Like if it's really important to you, then I will tell you. But otherwise, yeah, I just don't feel called to share it openly and publicly. And I really thought that I wanted to, but it turns out that no. No, and that's what the resistance was. That's why, like, I recorded the video a long time ago and I just like haven't been putting it out, and I'm like, why? It's like, yeah, it's because it doesn't need to be shared. So interesting how things kind of unfold, and like when we listen to ourselves, we can see what the messages are. So that's, yeah, what's been going on for me on that. And yeah, I think that you can consider this my last video for a little while, probably, maybe. If something comes out very spontaneously, then it will. Otherwise, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from showing up in this way. Otherwise, I will still be continuing to do work in the background. Maybe a bit more of a presence on Instagram if I feel called to share there. So feel free to connect with me there. Otherwise, yeah, I'm still meeting with people one-on-one in the background, and that feels really good. And that feels like a better use of my energy than just like reaching out to vast deserts of virtual space constantly. Okay, I gotta go. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you perhaps sometime in another expression from the heart. Thanks, take care.